Good morning, everyone. I will be working on my herb garden today, and I have two of these lemon verbena that I use a lot for my tea. And I always bring them inside around November when it starts getting too cold. And as you can see, there are new foliage now, and it's about time to bring them out. Okay, then I'll start and enjoy the video. This is my herb garden here, and I just put some sand and gravel and some garden soil since the level is sinking every 2 years. And so I just did that right now. I'll mix it, and I'll check which ones are growing right now. I always mix the soil here because most herbs don't like rich soil. They like it barren and dry and with very little nutrients, at least these ones that I have here, the hardies. Except for the basils and chives and parsley and borage, I plant in a different substrate. So they like it moist, more nutrients. This is a curry plant that I use for my veggies and rice, and it really tastes like curry, very intensive. I have some lemon marjoram over here that are just about to come up. I also have some hyssop that I let it flower for the bees. It has very beautiful purple flowers. And there are a lot of oregano here that I use a lot. There will be some savory coming up all over here. They self-seed every year. These are more tarragon. I also have a clary sage over here that will be growing very high. Here are different kinds of mint that are just about to come up right now, and I separate this from the other beds with a garden fleece or garden textile because they are invasive. Go to the other bed. This one that's just about to come up is a lant, and it grows very high with very beautiful yellow flowers, and I plant them here close to the planters so it can provide a little shade to the basils and parsley and chives over here. This is another one that I use for my salad. This is a wormwood that I'd like to transplant to the back because it's growing higher than the others over here, so it's easier for me to harvest when the smaller ones stay in front. This one is an olive plant that I use for my pasta, but very sparingly since it's very intensive. I also have 3 different kinds of thyme here. These ones that are creeping are lemon thyme, and then I have a Breckland thyme over here, but it's not up yet, and some I think French thyme. Yeah, some French thyme. I'll show you where they are. This is actually a rosemary here, rosemary bush that I have to trim a little to keep it in shape. These are the French thyme. I have gold sage here. These are the dill that I sowed a few weeks ago, and I just transferred some in the planters now. And yeah, I have to cover them though because it's still too cold in the evenings. And I already sowed some rockets here, or arugula, and here are some of the basils that I propagated from my winter basil a few weeks ago. This is an old parsley that's coming up from last year. There are more basils there. These are salad burnet over here. I just transferred. They also self-seed. I have other areas in the garden where I plant other herbs because they cannot survive here. Some of them need other soil and some shade, and some of them are just so invasive, like the wild garlic, so I separate them from all the other herbs I have. So these are some woodruff over here. They're all over here. They have very dainty white flowers when they blossom. So these are more clary sage. I actually use them when I have problems with my throat, so you can just boil them and use it to gurgle. It doesn't look so good. There are some insects eating the foliage, I think. I have to check that out. And these are more mint for my tea, but I also contain them in planters. So. This is also a kind of mint, but I always have to take care to cut the flowers before they start seeding, because otherwise they'll take over the garden. These are the wild garlic that I have here, and they're actually ready to be harvested. So I'll be doing that, and tonight I think we will be having pasta with wild garlic pesto. These are lavender, and I will be cutting them really short in 2 days. It's actually the last thing I cut in the garden, lavender and the gamanders, and there was something else that I cut together with them because they are a little bit sensitive to the frost. So I usually harvest the flowers, dry them, and I make a lot of lavender sugar from it because I bake lavender cake. That's actually one of my favorite, well, the family's favorite cake. And I also use them to just put them in bags for the dresser, so it smells good there, and it's supposed to keep the moth away. And I also boil them in water and just use them for my bathtub when I take a bath. I actually wanted to make some lavender oil, but it's a little bit more difficult. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you again soon. Bye, have a nice day.